My name is Laura Voth. I am the archivist organizer for OK Appleseed and the Oklahoma Survivor Justice Coalition. So the Forget Me Not Gallery is an art gallery where artists from all over Oklahoma and further out in the United States have submitted artwork with a Forget Me Not flower, and we are telling criminalized survivors through Forget Me Not flowers that we will not forget about them. So all of the artwork that we see in this gallery are donated, and all of the proceeds will go towards the legal fees of criminalized survivors serving a sentence in Oklahoma. So the Oklahoma Survivors Act is a law that we're hoping to pass. It would introduce trauma-informed sentencing and also reduce sentencing time for criminalized survivors. So currently, if you are fighting back against your abuser and you hurt them and or kill them, you are sentenced based on the crime that you committed. If you have any type of prior abuse that is substantiated, like restraining orders or police reports, that currently is not introduced to the court when sentencing. The Oklahoma Survivors Act would introduce trauma-informed sentencing. A judge and a jury would have to listen to those substantiated allegations of abuse, and it would also reduce sentence time for these criminalized survivors. It's also retroactive in a way, so it would reopen cases in Oklahoma and hopefully bring home the criminalized survivors. I hope that people learn about domestic abuse and laws that are harmful in Oklahoma. And I hope that they're able to have conversations with their community that will inspire healing and inspire change and hopefully inspire other states to create similar laws. I believe that art is first and foremost a conversation between a person and a painting or a sculpture or whatever the work is. I believe that art inspires change by pressing on somebody's heart. It is a very personal conversation between the artwork and the person, and I believe that that artwork can inspire hope, and that hope can inspire other conversations, and those conversations will inspire change.
I'm Tyler Thrasher. I came for a couple of reasons: to support this exhibition that Laura put together, and to show support for the victims and everyone who's coming together to also support the victims and support the bill. And also I have a piece in the show as well.
My name's Todd Johnson. I am a close friend of Laura Voth. She asked me to do a painting of Forget Me Nots, and that's what I did.
I did an anatomical drawing of a frog made of forget-me-nots. I called it Frog Get Me Not, so it's a pun on forget-me-nots.
I really like Tyler Thrasher's piece. Yeah, that was really cool. The frog. Yeah, I really like that. I like the leaves wrapped up, and I like the little tie around his neck. Yeah, it was cool.
My favorite piece has to be my friend Callie Nail. She embroidered a forget-me-not.
You can see it happening in there right now. Like the people that are walking through and seeing those paintings, but like even further, kind of reading those letters. Like I saw a lady in there kind of crying, from reading some of those letters. I think that there's so much to it, the fact that those women were able to take that medium and translate some of their pain, through that, and it translates. People pick up on it.
I think art has been used to communicate ideas, the importance of ideas, and to rally human concern for as long as art's been around. And I think that hasn't changed. I think that's one of the most potent parts of art, is finding different ways to communicate ideas. And so having an event like this with so many artists I mean, that's just that many more voices that are, I think, communicating the importance of backing this cause and standing up for and alongside victims of domestic abuse. I think that's art's role. I think it's to communicate the human need and human concerns. Um, yeah.
My name is Amanda Ross. I'm the niece of April Wilkins. April Wilkins is an incarcerated survivor who fought back against her abuser in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the late 90s. April Wilkins was a single mother. She met Terry Carlton in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a car dealership that he owned, and they started a whirlwind romance that later became abusive. They became engaged at one point and then broke off the engagement, but then he continued to stalk her, and eventually she ended up having to fight back against him in an altercation. And now she is incarcerated because it wasn't seen as self-defense at the time. Over a quarter of a century now, she's been incarcerated. The anniversary of her sentencing was on the 24th, so just a couple days ago. And her birthday was yesterday. So she got sentenced the day before her birthday, which has always made this time of year really hard for her. And so there's a lot of rejection, feelings of rejection in that, but so we can still put on events like this and lift up those voices of incarcerated survivors. And I really appreciate that this is happening. It's made me feel like we are being heard in some ways. Like, I know our bill just got vetoed and we're waiting on an override vote in the House. The Oklahoma Survivors Act is our second attempt at trying to pass legislation that could help get lookbacks on the sentencing of criminalized survivors. It's very important because I know when she gets out, she's going to help so many other people as well, because she's a fighter. She fights for others. It would mean a lot to our family too. I know her son, he could use his mom. She's a grandmother now as well, and she's never met her granddaughter because they don't want to bring her into the prison and experience that as well. That can be traumatic. I can only imagine, but it means that you have to live with being humiliated every day as well, because they do not treat women well in prison. It's her having to stay in an environment that subjects her to humiliation a lot. Like she doesn't get to do everyday things that you and I get to do, and so she still feels like she's trapped in some sense. It's so beautiful to see like the community coming together, and also the incorporation of the incarcerated women's art here is just beautiful. And I love that Laura, she said that it's in a home to welcome them home. And I love that because that's what we want. We want to bring them home. It exceeded my expectations, and I didn't have a lot of expectations, not to say that I didn't want it to succeed in any way, but I allowed myself not to have any, to keep my heart open for the experiences that were out of my control, and that's exactly what happened. I I don't really have the words right now to describe how much this weekend touched my heart and touched the heart of the artists who participated, how it will touch the hearts of the artists behind me who are currently incarcerated, um, and the community, the people that attended. I'm overwhelmed. I'm a teacher, so I want to say, oh, you're all my favorite students. The entire weekend was my favorite part. I really cannot choose. Um, I will say that there were moments of this intense emotion that was so incredibly powerful when the artists were giving their talks and talking about their experiences as survivors and their experiences creating the art and their experiences learning about this bill and what that means to them and their future. Um, that was so emotionally charged, and I was not ready for that at all.
And so that surprised me the most. So that will be my answer because it surprised me the most. I knew the weekend was going to be filled with emotion, but I did not expect to be so incredibly touched and moved in that moment of the gallery. So that was very challenging for me not to fall apart during all of this. This show, I don't think I mentioned this before. Um, this is all credited to my late friend, Ashlyn Metcalf Faulkner. We lost her in December. I would not be in this position right now to put the show together if it wasn't for her. And she has just been everywhere in this show. And that has been very challenging for me, honoring and challenging at the same time. There's one piece in this gallery that is not a forget me not, and it is dedicated to Ashlyn. It's made by one of her dearest friends, Jenny Kim. She is an incredible artist. She created this beautiful piece of imagery that Ashlyn loved, and it's called Grief Causes Growth. And she wrote this beautiful write up to go with that piece. And I can't read it because it's a little too much for me right now. But the writing that she wrote about how you can grow from grief, it really resonated with people who didn't even know who Ashlyn was. And so that piece, even though it was made in a dedication to Ashlyn, it was really for everyone here. And it helped everyone here. When this bill gets passed, because it will, I have hope it will, we're going to need to raise money for the legal fees. We need to reopen these cases. And I believe there's 100 or so of them in Oklahoma right now. That's going to be a lot of hours and a lot of money needs to go into their cases so that they're able to be resentenced and hopefully be free during this work with the entire community. You know, I'm not limited just to this right here, right now. It can grow. It's a garden, right? And that was my dream from day one. I said, I want to plant a garden, and we did. So I want this to continue, if not the Forget Me Not project, in some way or another through the arts. I want that to continue. I want our community to continue to come together through the creation process to spread hope and to continue this conversation and reach more people than just, this little slice of Tulsa where we are right now. I've had even someone from another state reach out and say, hey, I heard about this project. We need to do this in my state. So I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, I'm looking towards the future, and anyone who's watching your wonderful documentary about the Forget Me Not Gallery, hit me up. Let's do this.
We know what we need to do, so we'll